sorry, Harry, we give you a new mark. You have number 1 now.
I thought Karl's goal, oh my God, Karl's goal, that was exceptional, wasn't it? Manchester City were lining up Vincent Kompany as a possible successor to Manchester City head coach Pep Guardiola.
It sounds very good to be the successor of Pep Guardiola, you know. Michael Olise, he's not a man who's talking a lot. And this was a sign to the Premier League to say you have no chance to get this player.
It's yet another centre-back, isn't it? That's who's the talk of the town. We're talking clubs like Bayern, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, Real Madrid, all linked.
I think Bayern Munich is used in a little poker game because he want to get a new contract. We heard that many Premier League clubs are behind them. I wouldn't say in this case it's true.
Servus, hello and welcome. This is Farrell Keeling bringing you Bayern Insider with Christian Falk, the English language news publisher and podcast for Bayern fans worldwide. And you're joined as ever by the head of football at BILD and Sport BILD, Christian Falk.
Servus from Munich.
And hello from England. Christian, I'm very, very excited about what's coming up on today's show. Have Bayern already dealt Liverpool a killer blow in the transfer market? Is Bruno Fernandes on the shortlist? What's happening with Marc, Guehi, and so much more? But first things first, Christian, because the good times keep rolling for FC Bayern. I feel like we talk about this every week, and Harry Kane seems to be the man leading that charge. Another goal against Club Brugge to take his total to 23 goals, 4 assists in 17 games in all competitions, 1.58 goal contributions per match. And if I've done my maths correctly, a goal or assist every 50.37 minutes. But I mean, what was particularly quite impressive for me was seeing his role against Dortmund, because Kane was really dropping deep a lot of the time, breaking the lines. I think just really impacting the game in quite a sort of an interesting way, wasn't he? In that sort of like quarterback role, Christian.
Yes, that's the role. He was excited himself after the match. He told us it was one of the best performances in his career. And shame on us, we didn't give him the best mark of BILD. So the next day, and we don't do that very often. You know, we have another system like you in England. We have then 1 for the best and number 6 for the worst performance. And we gave him just a 2. And so we thought about that. And the next day we made a newspaper article and said, sorry, Harry, we give you a new mark. You have number 1 now. And I think this was really, really the right thing, because he was brilliant, as you say, and he's scoring. And, you know, in Champions League, he did it again. He's ahead with Kylian Mbappé with 5 goals, and that shows how fantastic he is at the moment.
I think with Bruges as well, it seems to be, you know, a story of just everything that should have happened for Bayern. It was a comfortable win in Europe. I thought Karl's goal, oh my God, Karl's goal, that was exceptional, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. And you see, we have a big talent there. He's just 17 years old, and he has a big self-confidence, I can tell you. So we have to see a lot of him. But it was very interesting when we are talking about Karl and also about Harry. Vincent Kompany tried to calm the hype down. And when he was asked about, we write him already in the national team, you know, but was so Kompany said, no, let's keep him calm, let's keep him quiet. He should look at Harry, because he should work as hard he does with 30 years. He's in the training, the last on the pitch. He's the first on the pitch, and he should look at him. And if he do that, he can be a big player. And that's the way Harry Kane has also impact on this team, because he's a hard worker and he's a brilliant player.
Absolutely. I want to say as well, amidst everything positive that's happening on the pitch, I think it's important that we do credit what's going off the pitch also, because the good news keeps coming there for Bayern Munich fans. We have to acknowledge the man helping orchestrate all of this, and that's Vincent Kompany. And evidently, Christian, Bayern's club decision makers would agree with that stance, because a contract extension until 2029 was offered and it was accepted for the Belgian head coach. But what's interesting, Christian, is this comes amid a backdrop of reports suggesting that Manchester City were lining up Vincent Kompany as a possible successor to Manchester City head coach Pep Guardiola.
This is true. And this is what we heard from the club, because we asked them, why did they do it so quickly? We heard there was an idea about giving him a new contract. The talks were seen as next year. Vincent Kompany didn't made any hurry about that. He was very confident in Munich. But Bayern Munich bosses heard that Manchester City was keeping an eye on Vincent Kompany, the former player, the former captain, and they know that Pep Guardiola would like to leave at 2027, and also the contract of Vincent Kompany ended there. So Bayern Munich said, we have to do it now, we have to do it before City is knocking on the door, because it's the former club of Vincent. You don't know how he will react if they are there, and it sounds very good to be the successor of Pep Guardiola, you know. So, but Vincent Kompany said, yes, I want to stay at Bayern Munich. His decision didn't take longer than 24 hours. And so the new contract was made during 1 week. It was really quiet about this. No rumors. That was very important for Vincent Kompany, because he said he didn't want to disturb the flow of the team. And that's why it happened.
Absolutely. Good news all around. And I think good news for Bayern, Christian, inevitably also means bad news for their elite European competitors. And that notion rings especially true for Michael Olise. Christian, you've extensively reported on both Liverpool and Manchester City's interest in the French international for CF Bayern Insider. Can you tell us, is it true or not true that both Premier League clubs have suffered a blow in the race for Olise's signature?
This is true. Yes, because we heard already about it that Michael Olise has no release clause in his contract, as he had at Crystal Palace before, but nobody could be sure. And now Marc told that officially there is no release clause, and this was a sign to the Premier League to say you have no chance to get this player. They want to give him a new contract, and I can tell you, he's really, really into the team, Michael Olise. He's not a man who's talking a lot, but what I can say is he's writing a lot of WhatsApp to his players when he's at home at the couch. Players told us he make WhatsApp bombs and said, "Hey, how are you? Do you feeling well? Your training was good." So he's not speaking, but he's writing a lot, and he's a kind of WhatsApp leader in the team.
That's great to see. I mean, it looks like Bayern are going to consolidate their interest either way in their impressive array of attacking talent, and even potentially look to add to it over the coming windows. I mean, one name that was increasingly linked with Bayern in that regard, Christian, and who we did actually discuss on the last podcast episode, was that of Juventus's Dusan Vlahovic. But reports, I dare say, have gone a little bit cold on the subject in recent weeks. I mean, is it true that Vlahovic is no longer part of the club's transfer plans?
That's true for the moment. There was an interest in him, but I think it's also about the good performance of Harry Kane. You know, such two big strikers in the club is not always so easy, because Dusan Vlahovic want to play as well, and he costs a lot of salary. Even he's a free agent. But the other thing is, we heard that many Premier League clubs are behind them. Tottenham is leading the race. United, Chelsea is also interested. So, you know, if such clubs are on the table, it's a question about money, a lot of money. And if Bayern Munich could get him as a free agent and say, hey, perhaps you don't earn so much, there would have been a chance. But with these players on the table, Bayern Munich is not doing contact at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, one player that we know FC Bayern probably have a stronger interest by comparison is Cologne's Said Almala. 4 goal contributions in 7 Bundesliga games this season. Christian, he's catching the eye. Unfortunately for Bayern, of course, again, that means he's also reportedly catching the eye of other top European clubs, including the likes of Inter Milan and PSG. Christian, is that true or not true?
This is true. Bayern Munich have him on the list as well, as you say. They're not so afraid about these two clubs, but we heard in Munich, and this could be interesting for Premier League, that also Manchester City have him on the list now. And when Manchester City is on the table, Bayern Munich is always aware that that would be very risky because the clubs are playing a similar style, and Pep Guardiola is somebody who can take young players with one word, and then it's getting difficult. So Bayern Munich, it's not like a matching right, because a matching right is always in a written form, but they told Cologne, if there are any calls from Manchester City, please give us a signal that we can make an offer.
Okay. I mean, let's shuffle back into the midfield, because it's one area of the pitch that is probably of the least concern for Bayern Munich at the minute, or at least Bayern Munich's recruitment team at the moment. But that doesn't mean, of course, that the club, like any top club in Europe, is adverse to capitalising on a potential market opportunity. Christian, is it true that Bayern Munich have Manchester United playmaker Bruno Fernandes on their shortlist?
This is our first not true. No, he's not on the shortlist. I think Bayern Munich is used in a little poker game because he want to get a new contract. And I asked one of the decision makers of Bayern Munich, and they gave me a really big not true on these rumors. Yes, he's an interesting player, of course, but he's not a young player anymore, and he has a big salary, and Bayern Munich want to reduce the salary, and so there's no chance for Bruno Fernandes at the moment at Bayern Munich.
Lovely stuff. And let's shuffle back again, if you'll allow me, into the back line, into what is more of a problem department at this moment in time for FC Bayern. I mean, Christian, there's obviously a lot of talent in the back line. Bayern have had a little bit of bad luck to start the season, obviously with injuries to the likes of Alphonso Davies. There's been also the dark cloud of contracts hanging over the club. With the latter particularly in mind, just how strong is Bayern's interest in Dortmund centre-back Nico Schlotterbeck? And is it true that they're ahead of Liverpool in the race for his signature?
I wouldn't say in this case it's true, because Bayern Munich is not making pressure on this deal at the moment. There's still talks with Dortmund and Nico Schlotterbeck for a new contract, but they have him on the list, of course. They have to wait how it's with two other names we have on our list today in the true, not true. We will talk about Upamecano and Marc Guehi. So he's on the list, but he's not the number one list. But, you know, Bayern Munich has no German defender since Philipp Lahm in this case. So they're searching for such players. But if the other two solutions work, they don't need Nico Schlotterbeck.
And speaking of course, Guehi, because there's plenty of defenders coming up in Bayern Munich reports. Here at Bayern Insider, we've covered, obviously, FC Bayern's interest in Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi for some time now. But Christian, it's yet another centre-back, isn't it? That's who's the talk of the town. We're talking clubs like Bayern, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, Real Madrid, all linked. But let's get one thing straight, because there's word going around that FC Bayern hold the advantage over Premier League clubs for Marc Guehi's signature, and that is
true. There are two reasons. There are reports at the moment in Germany that also one of his agents, Gordon Stipic, was already in Munich for talks. This was reported by Sky. So this could be. One thing for sure is that Christoph Freund, it's the right hand of Max Eberl, the sporting director. He is from Austria, and he has a strong connection to Oliver Glasner. And we know that there are talks between these two friends. Both were working for Red Bull before, and Christoph Freund makes pressure that he is coming to Bayern Munich. Marc Guehi would be a perfect solution. Really, yes, captain of Crystal Palace. He's really interesting for Bayern Munich. Free agent, and his salary is not so high like of other superstars in the Premier League. So there's a good chance, and they have a good role for him. So Bayern Munich is working hardly on this deal, and that's why they are ahead, because they have a clear plan.
And who doesn't love a freebie? And speaking of freebies, I think it's fair to say that Bayern will still probably be quite keen on signing a new quality centre-back, even if contract talks do get sorted for Dayot Upamecano. But it would certainly help alleviate some concerns, I think, if the Frenchman did put pen to paper on a new contract and killed any hope that Real Madrid or even Liverpool have of potentially signing him on a free transfer next summer. So, Christian, I put it to you. Is it true or not true that FC Bayern have a little bit more hope that Upamecano will put pen to paper on new terms?
It's true that Bayern Munich has a big hope, but I heard there's not the big breakthrough now. There's still a big question about the signing fee. You know, Alphonso Davies got a lot of this, nearly 20 million euros. Upamecano wants also one. And if Marc Guehi would come to Bayern Munich, yes, the club has pay also a signing fee because he's a free agent. So this is the big discussion. You know, Upamecano is already a good, a high salary earner, I can say, for a defender. I don't know how much the defenders in every English club earns, but with 60 million euros, with including ads on, he's well paid. So it's hard to get his signing fee also on this table. So Bayern Munich is in good talks. Dayot Upamecano could imagine to stay at Bayern Munich, but at the end, it's a question of money.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about obviously contract terms over in England. I mean, we can say certainly if we're using Liverpool and Virgil van Dijk as a barometer, obviously Virgil van Dijk being one of the most elite centre-backs in world football right now is on phenomenal money. I believe he's one of Liverpool's top two earners, along with Mohamed Salah, obviously following their successful contract talks in the summer. But I mean, what is the state of play regarding Upamecano's status on Real Madrid's shortlist, Christian? Because there were reports that followed. Obviously, Ibu Konate's form has kind of been a bit mixed at Liverpool, and there was suggestion that in the meantime, Upamecano has overtaken Konate on Madrid's wish list. Is there any truth in that?
Yes, because they have a big eye on him. You know, his management with Sissoko makes pressure on Bayern Munich in the talks. And Upamecano would be a good deal for Real Madrid as well. As you see, Real Madrid is always looking for free agent defenders. They don't want to spend money for them. So Konate and Upamecano are leading the race in this case. Yes, and remember the defenders. They were before Alaba and Rüdiger were also free agents. So these are the targets of Real Madrid. And I think if they can get one of them, they are happy. If they get both, they're happier, because Alaba and Rüdiger are sad to go perhaps to Saudi Arabia. So they need defenders.
And they do love a freebie over in the Spanish capital, don't they? But speaking of players whose futures remain in some doubt, shall we say, Min-jae, he's struggled to get much of a look in this season, Christian, despite some reasonable minutes in the Champions League. Obviously, he plays the full 90 minutes against Paphos. But this is also a player that was heavily linked with the exit door last summer. So it's perhaps unsurprising that we're seeing fresh links to Italy. It's now being said, Christian, that Juventus could even try to sign Min-jae in January, and that is...
This is true, but I have to say Bayern Munich don't want to sell the defender in winter. Perhaps if they have to buy Marc Guehi in winter, this could be an opportunity. But also in this case, I can tell you, I heard that Juve is interested, but there are two clubs in Italy more concrete at the moment for signing of Kim, and this are both clubs from Milan. It's AC and Inter. They're really concretely interested in Min-jae Kim. So you see his performance at Napoli in the past are still seen in Italy, and so there are many interests, and the two Milan clubs and try to get him in summer. But if there will be the chance in winter, I think that will be also on the table.
Well, that is as good a place as any to wrap it up. If you're catching this on YouTube, be sure to drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you are the first to know what is true or not true. This has been the Bayern Insider Podcast with the inimitable Christian Falk, and I've been your host, Farrell Keeling. Take care, and I'm going to try and get this right this time. Danke fürs Zuschauen.
Und auf Wiedersehen.